Hello and welcome to Baseplate Reviews. Last time out, my last video, I was saying that I wanted to build a raised section in the city and then a Chinatown section, and I moved all these sets over to the build table. So first thing we need to do is get this cleared off, and then we're going to have a look at build and review of the Creator 3-in-1 set 3-in-1 Downtown Noodle Shop. What I'll do is I'll do all three builds and then we'll take a look at each one as we go. So this is one of those classic Creator 3-in-1 buildings. Can also be built into three different buildings. The Noodle Shop's the main one. Then it looks like we have some kind of bicycle repair shop just here and a gaming arcade of sorts at the bottom. This was retired back in December 2023 and went for $45 or 40 British pounds. If we look at the box, it does show both the main build from the back. The other builds are just shown again from the front, so it doesn't really show you exactly what they look like, but also shows just here how it can be split apart from one side of the main build. What we'll do is we'll get the box open, see what we're working with, how many bags and stuff, and then get on to doing probably the arcade first. So, as expected, we get three booklets for the main build, the bicycle repair shop, and the arcade just there. We've only got 5 bags total, numbered as 1, 2 and 3, and the booklet for the main build is substantially bigger than these other booklets, so that suggests to me they're not using a lot of the pieces from the main build. Overall, it doesn't look like an awful lot of stuff. 569 pieces, but this was really well priced at just $45 US. So I suppose let's get to it. This is just a quick 45-second speed build. I haven't included these for the other builds as it's a little bit more of the same. I will mention it later on in the video, but this 3-in-1 set didn't come with a brick separator, which I thought was a bit odd considering how many sets we do get them in, and this is designed with taking apart and rebuilding specifically in mind. In terms of the build for this one, there are some really cool mini builds for the various arcade machines here. We start off with the arcade, and yeah, it definitely doesn't use all of the parts from the set. We can see that just here. We've got all of these kind of larger parts, and then this whole pile of parts that hasn't been used, but that's okay. I think that considering the number of parts that it does use, actually it's pretty effective. You've got probably the two most striking bits are the signage, which is kind of play sign, and then a video game controller. And you've got some really cool mini builds in here showing off arcade machines. Maybe that's suggesting someone's playing an arcade version of Double Dragon, something like that. Some kind of game where you go on a bike, and here, arguably as good as anything in the set, which is a claw machine. You can just about see the claw there at the back of the machine. The mini build animal that this comes with is some type of dog. I would not like to hazard a guess about the breed, but I'm pretty sure it's a dog. Big shiny black nose and a tongue poking out just there. I have to say, I mean, I'm not a big fan of the buildable kind of animals. I'd much prefer a moulded one, but that's what you get in these Creator 3-in-1s. This set, the kind of smallest of them, isn't the prettiest when you start spinning it around. It's used a lot of these kind of profile type bricks with the curves in them, but once you look at it from this side or from there, I think that's actually a pretty full build. The roof comes off, but it doesn't come off too easily, and the roof is actually quite interesting in and of itself. A lot of snot brick techniques, so studs not on top, so that you could have a glass roof. And you know, it's finished off kind of at the top with these curved elements. So yeah, for the most minor build, this was actually pretty good, and it's something I could see that people easily could, you know, use elements from it or use it and put into a city. So I think that's the key as to whether it's any good or not. So hopefully the next two builds are going to be ace. So anyway, I think we're going to go on to the bicycle repair shop. The second build then is this bicycle repair shop to the right hand side with a tiny newsstand just there and an apartment of sorts on top with a rooftop kind of garden lounging area. It's actually probably got my favourite part of the build there, which is this really simple kind of sun lounger. I think that's actually pretty clever. And the apartment appears to be almost like an art studio type thing. I think that that's representing an easel, the elephant tile print, and then looks like maybe doing some pottery, or it could just be that that is a TV and a small area where they've got their food bowl. I'm not 100% sure. This little bit here is definitely some kind of lamp, but not sure what everything represents in there, and that is not normally a great thing. Lego should be simple and easy to identify what bits are which. We've also got this kind of area just leading up to the apartment. Maybe that's representing some kind of like seat to have a quick sit down. Again, not 100% sure. And we can see the newspaper stand part of it's a little bit finicky and falls apart a bit easily. But nice steps leading up. Again, I'm just not sure of everything. In terms of the space for the newspaper stand, it really is tiny. Just basically space for a cash register, but that's not inaccurate. These newspaper stands can be small. And then we've got some kind of space underneath the steps there. In the bicycle repair shop, it is pretty bare bones there. Pretty much just an empty space. Broom on one side. That's okay, people do need a space to work, and the workbench is there. And I have removed the bicycle which is normally sat there because that goes to build this kind of cart of sorts. I have to say I'm not quite as big a fan of this as the mini arcade. We do get another brick built animal here though, which is this bird. Looks like a kookaburra potentially up on top. But yeah, overall I wouldn't necessarily think about keeping this in the city. I think newspaper stands can be done pretty easily. The sign for the bicycle repair shop is nice. That's just there in the yellow and black. But overall, nah. Hopefully the main build, the Noodle Shop, is going to be a step up on this. But otherwise, definitely my second favourite of the two we've seen so far. And finally we have the main build, which is the Noodle Shop itself. as you can see by the pretty clever signage that we've got on the side there, and the little noodle bar just down here. It's got an apartment up above it, and this is all hinged, so if I show you here, it does fully enclose. If I spin it around, you'll see it is now absolutely fully enclosed. And I think, you know, it's not the biggest, but that could easily go into a city. One of the cleverer builds that we've got here is a little vending machine just down at the side. And we can actually see the back of this as well. So showing like there are cans in there. Unfortunately, this is a sticker, the Creator Street sign, but it's pretty nice, a reasonable kind of colour match. And our brick built animals here are a little bird, maybe a woodpecker, something like that, and we've got a dog here. I think I know the breed, but I'm not 100% certain. On top of that, we also get what is a quite nice ice cream bike, although I'm not 100% sure why it's with this set. I presume of the two minifigs, it would be the female one that would be selling the ice cream. He's definitely working in the Noodle Shop, but I'm not sure. I normally expect someone maybe to be wearing some kind of uniform. It's fine, I can use it in my city. I just don't know why it's with the Noodle Shop. It's not even necessarily like, oh, you needed all these parts for the other builds. So all of these kind of bits forming the actual ice cream flavours. So a little bit of an oddity there. But if we take a look at the Noodle Shop here, again, you know, it's stickers, not prints, which is a bit of a shame, but it is a nice sticker. And you can see it's pretty simple, but effective. Got the bowls, got what I presume are soy sauce or other dressings just there. And if we look inside, again, you can see this is a really limited space, but does the job for what we need. And again, the cooking space is pretty small, but effective enough. The apartment for this side, well, I mean, that's, I'm not sure what you could do there. I mean, there's basically no space, and they've stuck a newspaper for some reason on the floor. But on this side, we do manage to get an armchair with a little rug and a radio, plus a lamp and some flowers there. The rooftop, I'll close it up for the rooftop, has a nice plant on top, TV aerial. Do they use those anymore? I'm not sure. And we've got this little opening to get out there, and that's why we've got a ladder just inside here. I have to say, I just assumed that this would be the best of the three builds. It's the main build, but I'm still finding myself preferring that tiny little arcade to the least of the builds, if you like. The minifigs here are fine, they're pretty good, and we get some chopsticks there. There are also some other chopsticks in the spare pile, so that's a nice thing to get. Main build definitely does use nearly all the parts. You saw that, very few parts left over, and this looks nice enough. I'm happy I've got it. I mean, the whole plan for this was to help build up a Chinatown section of the city, so kind of noodle shop, noodle bar, be pretty good, but this is going to be, I think, some fairly heavy modification. I've got some other pieces, might recolour it a little, or even just add it into the side of another building. The build here for the actual noodle sign I think is pretty cool. These pieces just in here are just sat in there loose, so if you do move this you'd have to be a bit careful. But overall, yeah, nice set. Something to note is that even though this was a creative 3-in-1, so you're very much expected to build it, take it apart, it did not come with a brick separator. That's not a problem for me. I've got probably about 30-40 brick separators. We seem to get them in sets where we don't need them. But in this set, which is a creative 3-in-1, we didn't get one. I have to say that's a bit of a failure from LEGO in my opinion.
That's it for the quick run through of that creative 3-in-1 set. I hope you liked it, even though I didn't think it was the greatest set ever. And if you did, think about leaving a like on the video as it really helps out. Also, thanks for everyone who subscribed already. The next video should be a little update about the city and taking on board some advice that viewers have given. And with that, as always, be good.